Hi there, Loy Machedo. Sree Iyer from loymachedo.com. Who's Loy Machedo? Think Personal Branding and book review. What is this? Sree Iyer. What? Who Painted My Money White? A political thriller. Very nice book. So I read this book. Okay, I'll tell you the truth. I read very interestingly first half of the book and then I got bored of it. But anyway, I'll give you my review of this book. Okay, in case, and I'll tell you who should buy this book, who shouldn't buy this book, should you buy this book, should you not buy this book, and my thoughts in the end. Okay, now first and foremost, thank you to, I can't get the name of that guy who recommended this book. He's a BJP supporter. He's a young man. He supports the BJP left, right and center. And he was, even though my views were always not very supportive of the BJP, and I told him I don't hate the BJP. He recommended, have you read Sree Iyer's work? So I Google searched and I found out that there's no, this guy is not available. This guy's books are not available in the international thing. So it's only available in India. So I asked him to send me, and he was genuinely kind enough to send me all three books of Sree Iyer. You can Google search. He has 3 books written. Who Painted My Money? No, Who Painted My Blood Red or something like that. It's predominantly BJP, pro-BJP, pro-Hindus. Okay, and he's not a bad guy. Huh? If you Google search Sree Iyer, he also has a YouTube channel. He does a lot of interviews. In fact, one of the interviews was with one BJP guy who is very highly educated. He was a Harvard professor, Dr. something. I can't get his name here. This BJP politician. And the funny thing, even though he's a BJP politician, this guy speaks against the BJP. And there are a lot of BJP guys who don't like him. So, pretty funny. I can't get you the name, man. Sheesh, for the life of me. He's an old guy, educated in Harvard. If you remember the name who I'm talking about, just comment down below. So, this guy is a BJP guy, identifies, but he's friends with Congress and he's friends with BJP, and he bashes up Congress and he even bashes up Modi. And surprisingly, nobody has assassinated him. They won't do that. But he still identifies as BJP. Anyway, that's another story for itself. Okay, so this guy, Sree Iyer, took an interview with this BJP guy, senior guy. The funny thing was, I was impressed with the fact that Sree Iyer, the author, is very well articulated, a very fine gentleman. I was like, wow, very impressed. And I actually watched that interview of him with that politician. They were speaking on the Kashmir files and the thing that happened to Kashmir Pandits. They spoke for, I think, 1.5 hours or 1 hour. And I actually, as I was doing work, I was listening to it. Very informative. It kind of shows you there is so much to learn about India and how one incident can be interpreted in 10 different ways. Like one incident, they can either say this is oppression towards Hindus or oppression towards Muslims. The same incident, and you can twist and turn. So you have to be very careful. So that is why, for me, I'm pretty aware of the fact I have a lot to learn about India, which I do not know. And there are 2 ways to look at the same story. Which one is right is always a big question. Okay, so coming to this book. Initially, when I started to read this book, whoa, it was gripping. It was like, wow, this is like a real political thriller, okay? But then as the pages started moving by, I think by the time I got to 40%, then I got completely lost. The reason being is there are too many characters in this book, too many characters. In fact, right at the beginning of the book, you can see a cast of characters. Yeah, cast of characters. There are all these characters, and all these characters that he has mentioned, he's given the name and he's given a description. They're actually taken from real life characters. Okay, real life. That means, like for example, in Congress, you have Sonia Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi. Suppose those are the actual people. He has given them different names. Okay, different names, but kind of with the main story. For example, Narendra Modi, he has not called him Narendra Modi, he has called him something else. So every person in this book is actually a living character. But the funny thing is, he has stated that this is a work of fiction. This is a work of fiction. That's a funny thing. So it's the actual story, the actual historical story, but he has converted it by, like for example, I'm Loy Machedo. He has called, there's a guy named Andrew Garfinkel, for example, Andrew Garfinkel on the island of Maldives. So it's Loy Machedo on the island of Thailand, but he has put Garfinkel on the island of Maldives. And Garfinkel had a lot of tattoos, so it's me he's describing, but in a different place and situation. So he has done the same thing with this book. I mean, it was very powerful. Now, what I liked about this book, what I really liked is he brought so many historical events that took place, a lot of historical events that took place in India, and he made it into like a short story, a short thriller. And to my shock and surprise, it made me realize the extent to which there is corruption in politics. I mean, when you think of Congress, you see the hand, that logo of theirs, and you think, wow, this is like a very progressive party. And then when you see the BJP with the lotus and all that, with the orange saffron, you think it's a very Hindu party. It's a very, like how they have ISIS for Islam, okay, those extremists. The media portrays the Hindu BJP as Hindu extremists, okay. Now, I personally, I'll be honest with you. When I used to see Congress, I used to think they're very progressive, because when you see Rajiv Gandhi, well-dressed, well-articulated guy, his wife Sonia Gandhi, wow, she is a foreigner, and sorry, my battery was low. You look at her as a foreigner, and then you see them, they speak in English, so you think they're very progressive. And then when you see the Hindus, the BJP party, all of them dressed up with beard, old men, and they wearing the Hindu stuff, and Jai Shri Ram, they shout that. So you kind of form an opinion based on the image that you see. Now, I'm telling you, that is how I was. But when I started to interact with both the Congress folks and the BJP folks, I was very surprised. Hear me out, huh? Until now, I used to think Congress is very broad-minded. BJP is very backward. To my shock and surprise, the BJP, yes, they are very pro-Hindu, and cow is their god, and they believe in the Hindu gods, and they want a Hindu agenda. Okay, that's fact is fact. But they are not bad. They are not as extreme as they show in the media. Yes, if you're in India and you speak bad about BJP in a BJP-controlled thing, you'll get some hooligans or someone who'll bash you up and talk shit about you and cause you harm, and all that happens. But it happens in every religion, every political party, every part of the world. So, to my shock and surprise, my videos is to always criticize the BJP. Okay? At least most of them. But I started to have good conversations with the BJP. Well, they disagreed with something, and some of them didn't like it also. And yes, I do get keyboard warriors that attack me. But I never said one bad thing about Congress, and I ended up having an actual Congress politician. Actual, I don't want to give his name. He sent me a video threat. I'm not exaggerating. He sent me a video threat. I have that video which got deleted, but I have a screenshot of that video. He threatened me, being a Congress guy, and then he even got some junior Congress president to threaten me that they would, reveal my details and dox me, and all kind of bullshit threats. So the point I'm trying to make here is the perception that we have can be wrong. So the perception I did have is BJP evil, extremist, and all that. They're not. They are in some ways, but they're not as bad as we think they are. Even today, I'm highly critical of so many things about the BJP, what they do. But to my shock and surprise, many of them, I get along very well with them. This is the funny thing. Not all, and some of them are really educated. I was very surprised to know some BJP politicians have educated in Harvard and Oxford, and I was like, wow. So they're not actually like this religious dummies as they portray themselves on media. And not all Congress people are like as elegant as Rajiv Gandhi. And like coming back to the book, what I realized is the Gandhi family, where we thought that they, when we say Mahatma Gandhi, Indira Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi, we think it's a Gandhi family. In fact, all these years, I used to always think Indira Gandhi was the daughter of Mahatma Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi was a son of Indira Gandhi. Well, I'm sorry, my history was bad, because, you see the name Gandhi, 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 so you think it's a Gandhi clan that is. But I realized later on that they caused the country a lot of harm. They did a lot of harm. They took billions, they bribed their political party, they turned a blind eye, a deaf ear to the corruption that was taking place, and they did a lot of harm, which is where Narendra Modi's government, even though they are not all saints, which I'll say, there is one sadhu guy who I'm not very much big fan of his, but they actually are doing something worthwhile. And India, with a population of 1 billion, with so many crazy cats out there, at least is doing something worthwhile. So I started to realize that Narendra Modi is not all that bad. He's not perfect. He definitely is pro-Hindu. He definitely does not like the Islamic, extremists, whatever they. And there are a lot of Muslims who don't like him. Let's call a spade a spade. But he's not bad for India. He is a strong leader. He is not there to please everyone. He is indeed a strong leader. Yes, you can criticize him for the petrol prices, the food prices, all that. Even I'm on your side. Yes, he has failed over there. But at least he's doing something. I mean, just imagine the jumbalaks. If you end up having Rahul Gandhi as a leader, I can't imagine the day. India will just collapse if Rahul Gandhi ever became Prime Minister. Narendra Modi is the man. And right now he's standing against US during the Russia-Ukraine crisis. And like I told you, I support what Narendra Modi is doing. And I think what Russia stands during the whole matter. I know it's controversial, but Russia is doing what it needs to protect its sovereignty. NATO is nobody's friend. US is nobody's friend. It's a dirty game of politics. Anyway, coming back to the book. The book, first half, very interesting. I couldn't put it down. But then I started to get confused with so many characters, and by the time I had to literally force myself to read the book. So, overall, I would say that this book is to educate your mind about the evil stuff that Congress has done. This is a great book, unbelievably good book. If you don't have the patience to read a book, then I wouldn't recommend you to buy this book because I have ADHD. I couldn't bear to read it anymore. I lost interest. I forced myself just to read it because I wanted to read it. But if you really have imagination, you have the patience to read a book, then this book is good for you. But one very big thing is it definitely showed the dark side of Congress. And yes, I am telling you, you need to be aware of the fact that it's written by a guy who supports the BJP, who does not like Congress, who is very much, pro-Hindu. Okay? So he has written the book. So keep that bias in mind when reading this book. But having said that, there is an element of truth in this book. And if you ask me, I would say I wanted to give this book a 4 out of 10. But then I was like, it's my fault that I don't have the patience to read it. So I gave it a 5 out of 10. But then when I saw the value that it offered of showing the true light of Congress, which I was always a fan of, and made me realize, no, there are no saints in this, I decided, okay, 6 out of 10. This is what I'll give. So, if you are thinking of reading this book, Sree Iyer's Who Painted My Money White, shocker of a book, incredible. I mean, Sree Iyer really has the talent to write, and he's very good. He has a YouTube channel, very articulate gentleman. So, if you want to understand a little bit of Indian politics, summarized and put as kind of a movie, they should make a movie out of this. I would say it will be a bestseller. This is the book. Okay? So, this is my book review. I don't know if you enjoyed it, didn't like it. I'm sorry, but I couldn't give you specific technicalities of the book, and I told you I got bored half the way. So this is what I wanted to share. Let me know your thoughts. Am I right? Am I wrong? And yes, go ahead and make fun of me. I used to think, what? Indira Gandhi was Mahatma Gandhi's daughter. How stupid. But how does she have the same name? That's a confusing thing. And then I have to wonder, who's Nehru? Is he your father? Anyway, lot to learn about India, lot to learn. Oh, too many things for one lifetime. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is me signing off. You guys take care. Ciao.